Welcome, everyone. Let's dive into a debate about global power dynamics, particularly how recent reports suggest that the United States is being called a bully on the international stage.
I'm excited to get into this. So, how exactly is the term bullying being applied here?
Well, you see, during a security and development summit with major players like Russia, China, and India, a key figure, Victor Gao, stated quite pointedly that there's only one country in the world that acts like a bully
Yeah, interesting.
internationally. And that, of course, pointed directly at the US.
So, essentially, he's saying that the US often imposes its views as if they were absolute truths, right?
Exactly. It's like they force their perspective on other nations, expecting everyone to follow their lead without
Right.
question. And that language is pretty charged.
That kind of rhetoric is bound to stir emotions. Now, considering the summit included influential countries like China, India, and Russia, it seems like this narrative is very deliberate.
Absolutely. It's like these alliances are coalescing around a shared sentiment. When Gao states, I think there is only one country in the world which really is bullying, it's a very stark image. It casts the US as the sole instigator of undue pressure in international affairs.
But isn't it also a bit one sided? I mean, the US has often argued it's upholding democratic values and protecting global stability.
Sure, that's a common counterargument. It's like some view it as a sort of tough love from a big brother looking out for the little ones, while others see that as, well,
Yeah,
coercion.
exactly. Right. It's a clash of narratives. One perspective emphasizes strategic self interest, while the other decries an imposition of power.
Precisely. And the statement from Victor Gao really encapsulates that tension. By saying the US insists its dictates should be accepted as the real truth, he's challenging the legitimacy of that form of soft or even, hard power.
Exactly. It almost sounds like a classic playground scenario where one kid keeps telling everyone else what to do, except, on a global scale.
Haha, yes, it's like that. But with billions of dollars and geopolitical interests at stake. And this kind of language really forces us to question what constitutes fair international behavior.
Right, yet there's a nuance here. While the US is accused of bullying, its supporters argue that its interventions and policy impositions are meant to preserve a particular world order.
True, and that's where the debate gets heated. It's like, on one hand, you have a narrative of moral authority. We're protecting freedom. And on the other, a narrative of dominance and coercion.
Yeah, I totally get that. But then, don't you think there's a bit of oversimplification in labeling such a complex set of actions as mere bullying?
I hear you. It's like when you reduce a complicated family feud to just, mom always picks on you. There's a lot more beneath the surface.
That's a fair point. Exactly. You have to consider historical context, strategic interests, economic ties, and so much more.
Right, and let's not forget the media framing. This report coming from Sky News has its own lens, emphasizing strong adjectives like bullying to dramatize the conflict. It shapes public
Absolutely.
perception significantly.
Yeah, and when these viewpoints are broadcast globally, they can galvanize public opinion in multiple countries, sometimes pushing them into forming tighter alliances against perceived hegemonic forces.
Exactly. And think about it. When nations like India and Russia also share spaces in these discussions, it underlines a global shift. The traditional US led order is being questioned more openly.
Right, it's like a pivot in how global power is distributed. And that makes one wonder, is this just a rhetorical tactic to allow these nations to better negotiate their interests? Or is it a fundamental change in the global status quo?
That's a tough one. It might be a bit of both, honestly. It's like, your neighbor complaining about a bully. You might be upset in the moment, but then you also start organizing to create a more balanced community.
I see what you mean. Exactly. These kinds of statements can be rallying cries. They unify countries behind a common cause, even if the reasoning is subjective.
Right, and while the US might see its actions as necessary for global stability, for others it's a reminder of a past where power was parachuted in uninvited.
Yeah, it's a really contrasting view. Now, what about domestic implications? Do you think such international criticisms can also affect internal politics in these nations?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a mirror where a country can see its own behavior reflected, sometimes unpleasantly so. When leaders make these statements, they're also, in a way, signaling to their domestic audience, we're standing up to that perceived bully.
That messaging is pretty powerful. Right. Using international criticism to bolster domestic unity can be quite effective. Though, of course, it risks oversimplifying complex realities.
Precisely, and that's why it's essential to, always question these narratives rather than take them at face value.
Yeah, indeed. And what do you think the implications are going forward? Can this narrative of bullying redefine alliances or policies?
I think so. It's like a seed planted in the global consciousness. Over time, if enough voices amplify it, we could see shifts in how international cooperation is defined.
Absolutely. It reminds me of how, historically, shifting narratives have led to rebalanced power structures. One mischaracterized bold act can eventually snowball.
Yes, exactly. It's like the domino effect in politics. A single emphatic statement, even if partly rhetorical, can push governments to reconsider their strategies.
You're right. But I gotta ask, could this intense rhetoric also backfire? I mean, could it make diplomacy even more adversarial?
That's a very good point. It's like if you label someone a bully repeatedly, sometimes they double down on their actions instead of changing course.
Yeah, I can see that. Exactly. So while the criticism can be a tool for rallying and change, it might also entrench positions further.
Right, and that's where careful, nuanced dialogue becomes crucial. It's not about demonizing an entire nation, but questioning policies and actions objectively.
Absolutely, it's a delicate balance. And as the summit and these discussions unfold, they'll undoubtedly influence how global policies are shaped in the near future.
Definitely, and it will be fascinating to watch how both the US and its critics adjust their strategies in response to this evolving dialogue.
Right, real time evolution in international relations. All in all, whether you call it bullying, tough diplomacy, or strategic enforcement, the reality seems to be that global power structures are in a state of flux. And that means questioning everything becomes more important than ever.
Exactly. As global citizens, we need to keep asking what is the true nature of power, and how do we ensure a fair, balanced world? Thanks for this thoughtful conversation. It's been an engaging and eye opening discussion.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Stay curious and keep questioning.